The United Kingdom, a land of class, dignity, justice, and moral superiority. A land once described as an utterly contemptible shithole by some guy. A place of royalty, where the magnificence of the monarchy reigns supreme. It's almost impossible to think of England without thinking of ineffectual blue-blooded parasites sitting on fancy chairs being given shiny hats to wear, and never more so than this momentous occasion, the coronation of Charlie Boy, the big-eared man-child brother of the world's most notorious nonce. Hello, my name's Artemis, and through no fault of my own, just geographical bad luck, I myself am a British citizen, but please, don't hold that against me. And as a British citizen, it is my moral obligation to drop to my knees and weep with joy whenever someone dares to mention the royal family. And so that's exactly what I'm hoping to do this week, as I try my utmost hardest to take this entire thing seriously and explain what the fuck a coronation is actually all about. Let's see how I do. This once-in-a-lifetime ceremony will be the perfect chance to show the entire world how little we care about taking ourselves seriously, and we have spared no expense as a nation. I mean, it's only taxpayer money that could have been put towards easing this cost of living crisis, so fuck it, let's just piss it all up against the wall and celebrate. Now, the actual process kicks off on Saturday, where Charlie and the Colonialism Factory will be setting off from Buckingham Palace to set off down this magical fucking route and past Admiralty Arch to the Westminster Abbey, where, of course, he shall be hatted. And to show that this new king is in step and fully aware of the way that his subjects are suffering in the terms of this economic downturn, where money is just being frivolously spent on things that we do not need to spend on, whilst kids cannot afford to eat and nurses are using food banks, he shall be doing this in a gilded golden fucking carriage. Now, this might seem like a little bit of a misstep, a little bit of a weird thing to point out, but this does truly show off exactly how much our new king cares about the plight of his people. Not one fucking bit. Obviously, this 1.3 mile trek from one place to another to do absolutely nothing of value for the country will be lined with thousands upon thousands of flag shaggers, gleefully stroking themselves off to the Union flag, hoping and cheering and waving that maybe, just maybe, their moral superior, the gift from God that is Charlie Boy, might actually give them some fucking attention and validate the fact that being a royalist is actually a good alternative to having a fucking personality. And who knows, one of them might get lucky and get spat on. Probably like that though, the kinky bastards. The route down to Westminster Abbey would of course pass by 10 Downing Street, the residence of our unelected Prime Minister. And this will be the first time in history where the, coronation of the unelected king will be watched by our unelected Prime Minister. What a truly fantastic day for democratic freedom this is turning out to be. Yay! And then, of course, the king finally arrives at Westminster Abbey after all of that pomp and circumstance, and we get to even more of it, and the royal family and all their invited guests and all the extended royals are there waiting too. And for many, many people, it's a veritable who's who of the upper elite of the country, when for everybody else who actually, exists, seems to see it more of a who the fuck is that, and why are we paying for their extravagant lifestyle when we can't afford to feed ourselves. And then comes the ceremony itself, which Charles has had a focus on modernising. He wants to bring it into 2023, into this modern age of ours. And nothing quite screams modern like putting up some curtains so that the mortals don't view the bishop anointing the king's head with vegan holy oil so that he can be blessed with his powers from God, because mortals can't obviously bear witness to that because it's too fucking almighty. And also nothing quite screams modern like asking everybody in the nation and the Commonwealth to recite a Pledge of Allegiance to Charlie Boy and his family, including the nonce. Obviously, that's so very 2023 of you, okay? Look, his mother forgave him for fucking children and even helped pay part of the £12 million settlement to shut some of the victims up. So now it's time for the rest of the country to do so. This is beyond parody now, okay? I was supposed to be taking the piss, but this is all real stuff. This very important ceremony will also be witnessed by some very important invited guests, such as some of the veterans that the government wasn't quite able to kill off with their piss-poor handling of the COVID pandemic, and also some nurses who are here because they can't quite pass up the opportunity for a free meal, considering the government says they're not actually worth the money of a pay rise. But, you know, obviously this £250 million blowjob we're giving to one single inherited wealth fucker, that's definitely worth the cost, okay? Fuck off nurses, just accept being poor. After all that, the king fucks off back to where he came from, the gilded palace, so that he can stand on a balcony high above all of the scum and peasants and wave at some airplanes that are passing by. And we as a nation are told to collectively wipe away the cum from this massive metaphorical blowjob we've all had to ruin our day to give one man's ego. Rule Britannia. Of course, all this grandiose, pompous, over-the-top bullshit is a little bit out of step with a modern Britain now, isn't it? So maybe we should update it. Maybe we should make it more in keeping with our modern hellscape times. Like, that would give us a more realistic vibe, right? What would that look like? But if we're going realistic, he should be living in a massive goddamn palace. Obviously, that sort of location in London, you wouldn't be able to afford the rent. So you'd have some tiny, shitty, like, one-bedroom bedsit that costs you about £3 a month. A landlord who gives absolutely zero shits about whether the place is fit to live or not. And it's totally infested with mould. And you're out in the middle of fucking, like, zone Q. So you spend literally a third of your day travelling to and from work. A golden carriage ride in this economy? Hell to the fuck no. Okay, use your Oyster card and get a train to the fucking place. And obviously, because the trains are all run to shit, because nobody actually wants to invest on the infrastructure, that'll be a rail replacement bus service that makes a half-an-hour journey, 4.5-hour journeys, with a 50-mile diversion to some random butt-fuck middle-of-nowhere village where the bus driver needs to have lunch for an hour. That's definitely more fitting and in keeping. And the walk into Westminster Abbey itself should be less of some sort of joyous occasion and should be more of a miserable, depressing, glum shuffle forward towards a pathetic inevitability. You know, the sort of thing that you have to see when you go past one of the many, 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 many food banks in operation in this country. Truly signifies what our nation prioritises best. Of course, the ceremony itself should be less of an acknowledgement of his born-to-rule rights and more like an assessment as to whether or not he's fit for work. I mean, hell, if the benefit system in this country gets to routinely go around to people with lifelong disabilities and medical conditions, which obviously take them out of the workplace and then subject them to humiliating and incredibly stressful tests to see if we can shove them back out into the capitalist fucking hellscape that this country has become, then I'm sure this 74-year-old jobless, unemployed prick can sure as shit take a little bit of an assessment to see if maybe he's actually suitable to be our head of fucking state. Spoiler alert, he's not. Crowns and scepters are a little bit on the nose, aren't they, for these days? That's not very modern, but if we need to show someone the appreciation that they deserve, then obviously we should show them the truest, highest sense of appreciation that anyone in this country would ever seek. The true rewards from God. That's right, we should give him a cold pizza party and a paltry 2.1% pay rise. You know, the sort that doesn't even come in line with inflation. That's how we really show appreciation to everybody, right? That's the thing that really matters. And finally, we should just be kicking the old fucker back into a retirement home. He doesn't need a palace, okay? Stick him somewhere where we don't have to pay any attention to him and where we don't actually have to give any funding. And hopefully the next time a pandemic rolls around, the government will just leave him to die like they did with everybody last time. That, I think, would be the true British modern take on this entire fucking archaic process. And honestly, I feel like I would support it. I mean, I wouldn't. It's still fucking monarchy and abolish that shit, but meh, whatever. But why do we need a human on the throne at all, I hear you ask, like the voices in my head that keep telling me to kill, kill. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Why don't we elect a furry? I mean, surely they would have more say and more, you know, common sense when it comes to running the country. And I mean, I can just see the ceremony now. The procession should begin as all fursuiting events begin, with a long, arduous, meme-filled, musical-accompanied suit-up process in a hotel room. Preferably not yours, just one of a friend who you borrowed because they're closer to the con space than you managed to get. then obviously a cramped and humid elevator ride down to the con space, or if you're at MFF, then a hellish walk across the fucking sky bridge, and then finally you're there and you can begin to head to the Headless Lounge and dehead because you're overheating already just getting to this motherfucking place. Now, of course, the parade itself should be focused on big plush paws just stomping their way down, smashing all the micros underfoot, just big beans. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, it's about the only kind of parade we can really be trusted to make, isn't it? I mean, people would eat that shit up. That's much more interesting than the golden carriage. You just see a big this walking down and just bang. Let's be honest, you fucking like that. It's the only reason half of you are watching this goddamn video, isn't it? Bang. Fucking, we're better than the fucking king, I tell you. Westminster Abbey, we don't need no fucking Abbey. Alright, give us a rave, give us some fucking lasers. Let's do the Coronation, the caramel dancing, because that happens at every fucking con. Or screw it, we'll just do like a fucking meet and greet, or arrange it in the dealer's den so we get maximum attention. We got loads of fucking con places to, you know, choose from. Any one of them will goddamn do. We just might have to interrupt the inflatables pool meet. Oh shit, that might clash with the macro furs and the diaper ones. Huh. But then again, a coronation is usually full of shit, so we probably fit in with the diaper furs. We're already known for long, drawn-out opening ceremonies that don't actually really accomplish all that much, so I don't think we need to worry on this front, but I don't know, maybe instead of all the kneeling and praying and oh lord fucking crown this bitch kind of shit that we deal with, maybe we just have like a discussion about people's kinks. I mean, furries love that kind of shit. That would really get someone, you know, given the authority. Hell, why don't we just turn this entire fucking thing into a room party and we can just knot our way to a new fucking king, yeah? Yeah? Let's be honest, we're all broke motherfuckers who spent all of our money trying to be a goddamn dog on the internet. So, you know, gold and diamonds and precious jewels, that's out this window, in fact. So that's not going to happen. So we could just go for something simple, you know, 3D printed. And, you know, we don't need to have diamonds to show value on there. So we should just have something, you know, like ego. Because that's what the furries are all about, ego. You know, just show that you are, in fact, important. Maybe we could get like a little counter, a little timer saying like how many followers we've got. Because that's the true sign of wealth and importance in this fandom, I believe. And that's the sort of thing that we would obviously prioritize and want to show off to the entire fandom. Clearly, you know. And then at the end of the ceremony, we would, you know, take the crown and laugh at it and just toss it to the side because, you know, we might be a bunch of weird, crazy, sex-obsessed, kinky oddballs that are outcasts in society, but even we recognise that the monarchy is a completely stupid and redundant system that should not exist in any kind of free democratic society, and it's time for it to be relegated to nothing more than jokes that we take the piss out of. Hence this entire fucking video. So there you have it. That's basically how the origin story of the twat in a hat seems to work out, and yeah, it's the most ridiculous fucking thing you're likely to see this weekend, so maybe just don't bother watching it at all. I'm not. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I'm sure I'll enjoy living in this fucking hellscape. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get to do this all over again soon because, you know, the cunt is 74 years old, so it's a good chance one of his cunt kids is going to have to take over at some point in the next 20, 25 years or so. So, yay! Not only do we get to spend this money once, we get to spend it all over again later on down the road. Woo. Speaking of spending money, if you perhaps are thinking, what's a cheaper way that I can support someone who thinks he's better than me? Well, aren't you lucky? Because I just so happen to have some things for you to look at, please, that you might want to help support this channel, which would be great and amazing. Please. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and yeah. Hopefully we can forget about this coronation bullshit come Sunday morning when it no longer fucking matters anymore. I'm sure we won't, but we can dream, right? We can dream. Bye.